So who is Alvin Bragg? The Manhattan District Attorney is expected to bring what would be the first indictment against a former president in U.S. history. And as Trump calls for protest over his potential arrest tomorrow, Bragg is firing back against the former president's social media rhetoric, saying his office will not be intimidated. Senior national correspondent Brian Enton is live from Mar-a-Lago. And Brian, officials are closely monitoring this online chatter.
They are, Nicole. Former President Trump has called out the district attorney several times today on his Truth Social account. Meanwhile, here at Mar-a-Lago, it's been relatively quiet throughout the day. Not much action at Mar-a-Lago, where we presume the former president is right now. Several of his supporters have driven by with Trump flags, but beyond that, there really hasn't been much things of note happening here today.
As DA, from day one, I worked to make the office the progressive leader it should be.
When Alvin Bragg ran for district attorney in 2020, his political ads didn't shy away from his progressive views and his determination to go after the powerful, even featuring former President Trump's children in his advertisement.
With their high-powered legal teams who managed to escape prosecution.
Bragg's office has already indicted former Trump advisor Steve Bannon, accusing him of fundraising fraud through his We Build the Wall organization, and Bragg claims he helped sue the Trump administration more than 100 times.
Our broader investigation into the former president and the organization and others is active and ongoing.
Harvard-educated and the first black man elected district attorney in New York City, Bragg could also make history as the first prosecutor to bring charges against a former U.S. president. But some in New York wish Bragg spent less time focused on Trump and more time on crime in the city.
Pro-criminal, anti-cop, anti-public safety.
That's a green light for chaos.
Crime in New York City was up 22% last year, as Bragg has stopped prosecuting some low-level crimes.
If you are suffering from addiction or mental health and you commit a low-level crime, we're going to get you the services you need. We're not going to incarcerate you.
Despite calls to get tougher on crime, Bragg has stood by his progressive policies. He's also stood by the investigations into Trump, this weekend emailing staff he will not tolerate attempts to intimidate our office. Former President Trump 757 remains here at Palm Beach International Airport. While he said he believes he'll be arrested on Tuesday, he hasn't given any specifics on exactly when he would go back to New York. He did, however, post on Truth Social today about Alvin Bragg. Trump posted, District Attorney Alvin Bragg received in excess of $1 million from radical left enemy of Trump, George Soros. Bragg is also very close to the Clinton campaign. Republicans and conservatives are more united than they have been in many years. Even Democrats don't like what's going on with the Manhattan DA. This is a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time. And Soros did donate $1 million to a political action committee that supports Bragg, but we went through the records today and were not able to find any specific donations tied directly to District Attorney Bragg. Nicole?
Well, Brian, needless to say, an arrest could have some serious implications for the 2024 presidential election. So what are Trump's opponents saying about that?
Well, all eyes obviously right now are on Mar-a-Lago, where we believe Trump is right now, but they've also been on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who has not officially announced he's running for president, but of course most people assume at this point that he is. People wondering what he was going to say about all of this, since he's got this sort of very strange relationship with the former president right now. He addressed it this morning at a press conference here in Florida. Take a look.
I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that. But what I can speak to is that if you have a prosecutor who is ignoring crimes happening every single day in his jurisdiction, and he chooses to go back many, many years ago to try to use something about porn star hush money payments, that's an example of pursuing a political agenda.
Kind of interesting there, Nicole, sort of a dig on the district attorney, which is to be expected, but also a little bit of a dig, what seemed like it anyway, on former President Trump when he brought up the hush money payments to a porn star.
All right, Brian Enton live there at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.